Looking forward to sharing this. I am so obsessed with PMDD and helping people because it's just not okay. It's just such a difficult disorder to manage. So today I want to talk you through this one thing, this one tool that I think makes the biggest, fastest difference. So I thought that would be a really great way to get started. So it's a new way to manage PMDD. I've worked with hundreds of women that have this disorder, and this is my favorite. So I'm really glad that you joined to share today because you must be exhausted. It's tiring, right? It's exhausting. And I'm going to introduce myself first. My name is Amanda Westfall. I'm a registered counsellor in Australia and Sydney. I am a PMDD specialist because I'm a counsellor and I am also a survivor of PMDD. I'm actually third generation. My mother and my grandmother, on retrospective, acknowledged my mum's like, definitely that's what is going on. And that is a genetic condition. That does make sense. So, been married for 12 years. I've got two children. And I also wanted to show up today. This is me in bed. This is my luteal self. I wanted to introduce her. She's tired, and some days she does not get out of bed. But I do want to share with you that I have a smile in this photo, and I think that that's really important. That's where we're going to today, to be able to exist in this luteal phase without the spiraling thoughts, without that crippling depression, without the huge dysphoria that makes us want to change everything in our lives, to be able to rest and support our bodies, however, not to fall down the rabbit hole that is PMDD. So you'll see some photos of me. I'll share them. I'll be really honest with you today about how hard it is and also some tips on how to make it easier. So this new way to manage PMDD is so that you can lay in bed and smile. Parenting with PMDD is really difficult. I hear that from a lot of the women that I work with as well. So here's another one. My little boy comes and visits me in bed when I'm having difficult days. I can have joy and I can smile and I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I respect this disorder and give my body kindness and rest. By the end of this webinar, I want you to feel confident that you can do that as well. This is a mindset shift that gives you a sense of control. Often when we're in our luteal phase, our sense of control can come from change. It's, I will exercise more next month to make sure this doesn't happen. I will end this relationship. I will change jobs. And that is the sense of control that can try and help us feel better. But as you know, even by being here, that doesn't work. So this will actually give you true control, not the cheeky false sense of control that we like to have. We've just got Tanya joining us. Thanks for joining, Tanya. Now, like I said, this is only about 30 minutes. I'm going to try and carve it to 25. But because I really am so grateful that you joined me, I want to share with you this self-care planner. If you stick with me to the end, I'll email this out to you straight away. So this planner is 60 pages. It's mammoth. And I put so many pages in there because I want to encourage you to have self-care on your little phase, in your difficult days, but also in your good days, to start with some kind of consistency. There are days where it's really hard, and there are some pages in here on how to look after yourself when the days are difficult. There's 30-day challenges, 7-day challenges, inspiration as well. So this has it all. I will email it through to you as soon as the presentation is finished. Let's make sure you're in the right place. I want to know you've had enough. I am sticking with this header for this because that is a thought, one of those automatic thoughts. I'm sure you have those that come up in a little phase for me. Where I'm laying there and I'm thinking, I have had enough. It's this deep exasperation. And I think you have it too. When you watch everything fall apart before you bleed and then you get your period and you spend the rest of the time putting your life back together, getting back on track with your eating, getting back on track with your relationships, getting back on track with the washing, all the things that fall over and completely fall apart and you lose yourself in. Having to put that all back together again is completely exhausting. The relationships I just mentioned, like you create a disconnect in your relationships. and make decisions in your luteal phase, and you're not sure what's real and what's not. Do I actually care for this person, this friend, this partner? Or do I want to sever this relationship completely? Because in my luteal week, that's all I want to do. We're trapped in this cycle of conflict. Sometimes in our luteal, we can't stop ourselves from yelling or causing fights. And so there's a lot of energy put into actually repairing those relationships and apologizing. Well, that can be exhausting. And exploding with anger at the people that you love and the guilt, right? And then when the rage fades and you're like, oh, I might have overreacted. All the people that we love are going, I can't do this anymore. That's really hard. It's this whiplash, the back and the forth. Something is deeply wrong with me, and we only give ourselves the space and the time in that luteal phase to reflect on that. But then in our follicular weeks and our ovulation weeks, we're going, actually, everything's fine. You convince yourself. And I think that for me is one of the most insidious parts of PMDD is that gaslighting that we do to ourselves in our weeks that are so great, because it means we don't prepare for the bad weeks. We're having a great week. We're getting back on track with our exercise. We might have even meal planned or done some food prep. We're feeling good in our bodies. We're wearing clothes and feeling gorgeous again. And we're thriving in relationships and we're making plans, not factoring in that in 3 weeks, we're not going to be able to show up. And we trick ourselves going, oh no, everything is fine. And then we're blindsided. Anyone? Love to know if anyone can relate to this, if this is something that is something that you experience. Even in the chat, if you can give me a thumbs up or, yeah, I'm seeing a couple of those. Thank you. Yeah. It's really hard. It's really hard. Um, somebody said they have a friend that didn't get the link. Oh, that really sucks. I'm so sorry. I'll send a replay out to them after this is done. You can do that. Thanks for letting me know. Imagine enough of that cycle. I'm no longer questioning who you are every month. There seems to be this Jacqueline Hyde thing that I experience and my members in my program and my clients, my PMDD clients experience as well. Just this misunderstanding of who actually am I? Because these difficult days, I think I'm this version of self, but then that's different to who I really am, this true self. It is possible to integrate these versions of you in a really healthy way and also balance that. So let's do that right now. At the moment, you're blindsided, you're listening to your luteal thoughts. We're mixing these up, right? Confused about who you are. And this gaslighting I was just talking about will make your bad weeks worse. Your bad days will be worse if you don't think about them on the good days. I'm going to start from scratch, guys. We have premenstrual dysphoric disorder. That is a sentence. I'm going to say some really big words here that when I first started using the words for myself, it landed like in my gut. And when I use them with my clients, it really hits. This is a major depressive disorder. This isn't something that you can heal. This isn't something that you can fix. This is a major depressive disorder. It's in the DSM-5. Even though we're really amazing at telling ourselves that we're okay in our good weeks, we're actually not. Because a quarter of your life is spent in a dysphoric state. This is a debilitating chronic illness. And if you have a pen and paper, I really encourage you to write these words down. Major depressive disorder, debilitating chronic illness, and dysphoric state. So I often hear in my members and my clients going, why? Why do I feel like this about my partner? Why can't I get out of bed? Why can't I do all these things? And it's so victim blaming. It's like, I have a cold and I can't stop sneezing. Why am I sneezing? Well, yeah, you've got a cold. We have premenstrual dysphoric disorder. This is a significant disorder. And it's got some stats around it. Like 77% of people that have dysphoric disorder think about suicide. Like, this is a significant disorder. We have major intrusive thoughts that are really dangerous. Some days we can't talk. I know some days I can't drive a car. We have it's a really quite a cognitive disorder, and it affects every single part of our lives. Dysphoric. Let's take this seriously. Being dysphoric, we have a profound sense of dissatisfaction. This isn't something that a gratitude journal, that positive thinking, that if I cut coffee or if I take this vitamin, it will stop this. This is a depressed, low energy state that has flattened moods, physical immobility, can't get out of bed, hard to put pants on, shower, forget about it. Discontent, irritability, stress, aggression, right? Feelings of anger, guilt, and failure. These are side effects of this disorder. It's not because of all the things you're telling yourself it is. This narrative that we're able to create in our mind, it's not that. And if we really talk about what is going on, then we're able to manage it differently. So, this is the key to unlocking freedom from this disorder because we're telling ourselves things that aren't true. Am I hurt that my friend didn't text me back? Maybe, but you're probably hurt with that deep, deep hurt and deep rejection that you're feeling right now because you have a cyclical major depressive disorder. If we respect this disorder, we can really stop the spiraling in the luteal phase. When we feel that rage at people around us, that even that road rage, somebody cut us off in traffic. Last week, we would have gone, well, and turned the radio up, got on with our lives. This week, you feel rage because they cut you off in traffic? No. This week, you feel rage because you have a cyclical major depressive disorder. I wonder if in the chat, you can share with me what you think about this because it's pretty raw way of looking at this. And I'm undoing a lot of the things and a lot of the stories that you tell yourself. I feel tired. Why do I feel tired? Maybe my iron's low. Maybe I didn't eat enough protein. Maybe I should have exercised more last week so I'd be better this week. You're probably tired because you have a cyclical major depressive disorder, which makes it difficult to sleep. Your heart rate goes up, your body temperature goes up, insomnia is a side effect. That's probably why you're tired. So I really wonder if we think about it like this, we make it more serious because it really is. And if we externalize it, then we can put it in its place. And then the things that we think are upsetting us and we're spiraling over actually aren't a problem anymore. I never thought of it as a depressive disorder. Tanya, I get that. I'm so glad that this is a different reframe for you. It's good to understand the disorder outside of my period, seeing it solely from a mental health perspective. Thank you. That's a fabulous point. Sometimes we think of this as something that happens once a month, and it isn't. This is a major depressive disorder that we always have. It just gets noisy in that part. I know I experience, and my members, we talk about this a lot in my program support circle about actually there's parts in our cycle that are really amazing. This is a disorder where we are super sensitive to our hormones. So in the luteal phase, our body reacts to our hormones because there's a lot going on at that time. But also when we're ovulating, when we're in our follicular phase, there's a lot going on too. And we're sensitive to that as well. And I can feel amazing. I can have these moments of clarity, these moments of motivation, these moments of great ideas and creativity. That is part of this disorder as well. And respecting the whole disorder as how it shows up can help because when I am in that luteal phase, when you're lying in bed and you can't do anything and you're saying, this is who I am, if we look at the disorder and frame it around our disorder, we can go, this is who I am today because this is a phase in my cyclical major depressive disorder. But I know that when I hit my follicular phase, that's a really great time for me to start journaling again because that's when I feel like journaling. because right now I haven't got the power. I hope that kind of helps because this is something that happens to us. We have this all the time. It feels real. It feels real. Yeah. It's a disorder. When we sneeze, when we have a cold, it's a real sneeze. It's not that these things aren't real. It's that our body responds to them in a really noisy way. Somebody says, I've had this for years. I'm so glad I have people I can relate to. Oh, I had somebody join our membership last week and she said she's never spoken to anyone that had PMDD. Oh my goodness. We need our people. We need our tribe because every element of our lives is affected by this disorder. And we can't just take a tablet to fix it. This is something that we really need support in because we go through a lot, right? You are going through so much and holding on to so much. Tanya, I've never met anybody either. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you're here. These are some comments that I've had from the members of Support Circle. This is so helpful. I don't get stuck in the thoughts this month. This is what I'm going through right now is how to not get stuck in the thoughts because they are really debilitating. I didn't put it in here, but there's also this part that I experience with my members and other people that I work with one-on-one is this feeling of there's something wrong with me, but then I'm going into this moment in my luteal phase where everything is a problem. And if we externalize this, we can actually look at and notice that there's the same things that come up every month. There's the same things that we are infuriated by and can't kind of get out of. But then when we hit our follicular phase and we get our ovulation phase, it ain't so bad. It is real, but it isn't. And we're talking about how to separate that. You've struggled with this for 15 years. Oh, too long. We need some more strategies to make it less of a struggle. And this is my favorite. Let's call her out. You may have noticed since I started today's webinar that I call my luteal self her because she's a very particular version of me, right? She's not all of me. She's a part of me. And when I first start working with people that haven't done any one-on-one work or on their PMD or really focused on it too much, they often have words that they don't even realize. My favorite is dragon. I hear the dragon all the time. My dragon's here. Or werewolf, that's another really fantastic one. If you have a name for your PMDD, please put it into the chat because it's something I think that we do without even realizing. We subconsciously recognize that this is a totally different part of self that doesn't visit us very often. And I really want to encourage you to use this as a strategy. This is something we use in DBT and CBT. If you're familiar with those types of therapy, it's called externalization. And it's where we're going to pull a part of this out so that it's not here. It hurts in our heart. It hurts in our gut. It gets caught in our brain. So let's pull it out. And then we can make some choices about how we're going to manage with that. Yeah. Your luteal self. Let's talk about her. Now, this is a pretty wild way of looking at this. Sometimes I'm really grateful for her. And even though she can't get out of bed and she's really angry sometimes, she is obsessed with my unmet needs. PMDD cannot ignore our unmet needs. And there are women, you surely have friends, you surely have maybe even family members, people you know that can live in this world where they have unmet needs and ignore them for decades. These are the women that push themselves for a really long time in unhappy relationships, that push themselves in jobs that don't work for them. Joan, struggle to keep permanent jobs. Yep. Because we have these needs in our lives as women that are really noisy, and some of us just shut it down. They end up with burnout, they end up with anxiety, they end up with autoimmune disorders. And that hits them really big after a long time. We don't get that. We get a little bit. We get a taste of it every luteal. It forces us to notice things in our life that are dysfunctional. And we become deeply aware of it. We cannot escape it. Joan, I'm going to mention your comment here to keep permanent, you struggle to keep permanent jobs. Somebody who doesn't have PMDD can probably stay in a job for a really long time that doesn't serve them, that doesn't meet their needs. They just kind of park it and get on with their lives. And if we have PMDD, that part of ourselves that isn't satisfied in that job, it becomes the loudest part, which is impossible because then we get angry and we're not able to tolerate. But if we just recognize that is a part of ourselves that really does love us, even though she's not behaving very well, we might be choosing to do a job that doesn't satisfy our needs. And that's a choice in that moment. But she's just letting you know it's not meeting your needs. And we can just go, okay, luteal self, I know I do not want to be doing this job right now. But also, I have bills to pay. Or this is just a job for me right now. I do know just a couple of my members have taken some time off work for caring roles to look after partners that are unwell or to look after children. And it's in this time that PMDD can get really noisy, that they're not doing what they really truly want to do. They're missing work, they're missing friends, they're resentful at their partner when they come home from work. And that's because there's a part of you that doesn't want to be in a caring role. And that's okay, but you've actually made a decision that you're going to park that need for now. But PMDD doesn't get that. She does not get that. She is truly focused. So that helps not react to that thought. She's right. Maybe this is a job that you don't want to be in. Maybe this is a relationship you don't want to be in. Maybe it is, but we don't have to do anything about it right now. You might have even made a really cognitive, bigger picture choice to stay and not meet your need at the moment. And that's okay too. But she just wants to let you know. The undiagnosed ADHD. Oh gosh, aren't they the strawberries in cream? Tanya says she's got ADHD as well. Yes, that is PMDD's bestie. And it just makes your luteal phase even more difficult to manage. So that's something that I can work on as well, Tanya, is kind of what we're doing now is we're allocating some of these big feelings to that luteal self, the PMDD self. There's also going to be an ADHD self as well in there that we can park some things over. So she's got some really noisy opinions, right? Your luteal self doesn't want to go to work, hates this person, has no tolerance for this, doesn't like this TV show. She's just tough. She makes some good points, but she is not rational. She's not making things up. She's just bringing to light all of your unmet needs. That's it. What if we think of it as just that? Just noticing. She's just showing you. Your luteal phase isn't the time to fix the things. It's not the time to quit the job. It's not the time to text your friend and say, you didn't text me back, you're dead to me. It's not the time to buy a new wardrobe because you think that nothing fits you. It does. She's just being difficult again. It's the time to notice what feels off and then deciding when you feel clearer what you want to do about it. A lot of the time, you'll look at the list of things that she wants you to change, and your rational self in your follicular phase or your ovulation phase can go, oh, yeah, that makes sense as to why she doesn't like that. But yeah, I'm not going to change that. I wonder, does that land for anyone? Is this a really different way of looking at it? Please pop into the chat. So I want to know that I'm giving you information that's resonating with you, that's interesting. The idea of showing up makes sense during luteal. Yeah, it just shows up. It just shows you what is going on in a part of your world. There is a need that is not met. And that's okay. We all exist with unmet needs. She's like a frenemy, isn't she? You had someone in your life that actually says really helpful things, but does it in a difficult way. Just listen to her. What if we really take the pressure off this? In your luteal phase, we're exhausted, we're depleted, our body is not working properly. I said earlier in the webinar, there are some days I can't drive. I just don't have the ability. You know what I certainly can't do? Text message. I can't send a text message because the words and the sentences are just too much. And so that's a day where I don't send text messages. Probably can't cook a meal. Do you guys get clumsy? These are all these wild side effects that we have in our luteal phase. Some people aren't able to make dinner. So if that part of self is showing up and she can't drive and she can't make dinner, I absolutely would not be trusting her to make big decisions. If she can't send a text message, should not be making a decision about my marriage. She should not be deciding to buy a new wardrobe because she can't even put pants on. I love her for showing me all these parts of myself that have unmet needs. And I'm going to write all the things that she says down. She says that I can't handle this anymore. She says, quit your job. She says, start a blog. She says to do this. She says, you're not trying hard enough. She says, you're not a good enough parent. You're not a good enough friend. Okay, I hear you. But I'm just not going to do anything about it right now. I'm just going to hop into bed and watch my favorite show and write down a list of all the things she says. And then I'm just going to come back to it later. And thinking of this as like a built in check in, like this is a part of your routine. I don't know about you, but so many people that have PMDD before Perry, it is like to the day. Like for me, it was day 14, bam. And that's a routine. This is a routine for checking in with life. What are the things that aren't working? And maybe I can shift or switch them later on. What's working and what's not? And it's just a time to notice. Gosh, this takes the pressure off those thoughts, doesn't it? Takes pressure off the anger at the job, maybe. It takes pressure off trying to decide on how relationships are going to be for you moving forward. Don't break up with that person. Don't tell them what you really think. Write down, I think I want to end my relationship. I think Sarah at work is an awful person. I don't want to work with her anymore. Write it down. If you want to make it really special for yourself, get a really nice notepad and a nice pen. Don't get a dog. We come up with all these ways and things that we need because we have unmet needs. And we tell ourselves that we need things. Don't get a dog like I did. I wanted to show you Tiff. This is my Dalmatian. I wanted to give you a true representation of how the unmet needs in luteal self can show up because the need to get a dog was so deep. 2 dogs later. I love that. So relatable, isn't it? Oh, yeah, I might have a child that is also a consequence of this phase, to be honest. This is an unmet need of mine. And I needed a dog immediately. I actually bought Tiff in a luteal phase after, gosh, I picked her up after lunch on the day I decided I wanted her. She is a rescue, which makes me feel better about it. But my inflamed brain during luteal phase needed this dog. Actually, what she needed was to be more consistent with my exercise. And I put those two things together because my luteal brain isn't all of me and she just does the best to patchwork things together. The need, had I have given myself the space, I would have realized after my luteal phase that I needed to be more consistent with my exercise and I wanted to really show up for myself. My luteal phase got that confused and said, you need a dog to go running with. So I really just wanted to show you a real life way of how your unmet needs show up, how you can listen to them and just write them down and then reflect on them later. So I started knitting, is in the chat. Yeah, absolutely. Painting. Yeah. I have some members of that started crochet. That was a good one. That didn't last very long. It's just this, I need to do this thing immediately. I need to completely change my style is a fun one. I had a member last week that was talking about, thank goodness she didn't press go, but she had a shopping app and filled her entire cart with this new wardrobe that she thought that she needed immediately. And turns out what she needed were some more basics. She needed to simplify her life a bit more. So her little phase was showing you need to buy these clothes. Um, and she lent into that a little bit but didn't hit go. Actually, the need was that she needed clothes that were simpler because it was too hard to get ready in the mornings. I'd love to know if anybody relates to this. I use alcohol and drugs instead of buying items. Yeah, that's relatable. I think that they work. They're not healthy, obviously. But when we use alcohol, it settles down this part of our brain. It is dopamine seeking, absolutely. And there's also a shushing. There's also they enable us to disassociate from these luteal thoughts. So what this strategy is doing is disconnecting from the thoughts. They are luteal thoughts. They are not me thoughts. And it gives us space to decide on how we're going to react to it instead of having to drive 45 minutes and pick up a dog, instead of having to drive to the bottle shop or even to buy knitting needles and some new thread. Instead, just taking a moment. Anybody else got anything done that they regret in luteal? I've heard of, oh, and I've done quitting jobs is such a really common one. I'm done with this job, moving house, putting a house on the market, or putting a notice in for your rent, ending relationships, deep on researching supplements, buying done things on Instagram. Oh, moving cities. Yeah. Also, how nice is it to hear that other people have the same experience as you? Isn't that so validating for all the things that you've done and how you show up on these days? Does this just feel so good in your soul? It's so important having connection and support from people that do have PMDD. It slows down our wobble. Researching supplements goes back to that first part that we were talking about not respecting this disorder. It's really great. Supplements support us, but are we looking to fix? Are we looking to change? Your luteal phase is searching for supplements. I wonder, because you've had enough of this. And so maybe this strategy can be something that supports that need, that unmet need that luteal is showing you. Going overseas, traveling. Yeah, I need to get out of here. Wherever you are, there you are. PMDD will go with you. Tell you what, it's really hard to catch an early flight when you're in a luteal phase. So if we respect it, then we're not going to book a flight in our luteal phase, right? Then we're going to know, oh, actually, that's the time I need to rest. That's the time I need to write things down. I think that that's just so helpful. Living our lives to our cycles. Oh, I also, as I was doing this and talking about selfies, I wanted to put in just a little side strategy that I use in my membership. This isn't part of the one. This is a bonus one today. Take selfies. My selfie strategy is to always take selfies. When you're feeling yuck, I've shown you a couple of my parenting from bed and working from bed photos, but thriving is a really great time to take a selfie too, because you can show yourself when you're having a bad day and your luteal self is like, you don't look great in a swimsuit. You can be like, yes, I do. I took this last week and I look amazing. I know I do. I took that photo and I remember feeling amazing. So you can jam it, luteal self. You don't always know what's best for me. This is back to the I feel uncomfortable because I have a cyclical major depressive disorder. Not that my clothes don't fit, not that I'm not amazing, not that I'm not gorgeous. All these negative things we say about ourselves, the body dysmorphia is real during luteal phase. So having some evidence there can really challenge that. I hope that as I've been sharing experiences, things that have been coming up in the chat about how nice it is to hear from people that have PMDD and how validating it is and how supportive it is, that this community is really important. It's really important. So, Tanya, I can never find outfits in this phase and do not want to leave the house. Yeah. Anybody else get that? I had a member in my program support circle last week say that, and a couple of other women are actually creating luteal phase outfits. I have one. It is a long sleeve black muumuu, and my girlfriends know if they see me doing drop off with the kids in that, they buy me a coffee and give me a hug. It's my little signal to the world. Pajamas that don't look like pajamas are another one as well. It's okay to just wear track pants for a few days. I face this too. Yeah, you do. Another comment. I face this too because it is a side effect of our major depressive disorder. It lands differently when we talk about it like this, doesn't it? So I'm going to pop into the chat a link to my webpage if I can. There we go. Fabulous. So here's a link to the page where you can have a look about Support Circle a bit more. This is a membership for women that have PMDD. There's three parts to this. So I have a number of modules with tools and strategies. Today, I ran through one of them. I've got over 20 in the program. And as we're doing, we do sessions, group therapy sessions twice a week. And if there's something that comes up that somebody is struggling with, as you've experienced today, where there's one, there's all. Joan said, I feel out of my body. You absolutely do feel out of your body. Yeah. Yeah. That disassociation and disconnection from self is a side effect of PMDD. I'm glad you mentioned that. In my program, I have a support for that. It's called Healthy Disassociation, and it's a tool on how to actually disassociate from yourself and get out of your body in a really healthy way, because your body is having all sorts of reactions to your hormones, and it doesn't feel like a safe place. So doing it in a safe way can really be helpful. So I've got all these different parts of the program. There's lots of lessons, there's videos, there's worksheets, there's workbooks, and I'm constantly adding to that. It's only for PMDD, and it is the only program that I have found that actually specializes in reframing and working with PMDD. I've also made it really affordable. This is $19 a week, and to make sure that it's for you, I've made the first week for free. So I want you to go in there for nothing and have a look at all of these tools. Join our group therapy sessions. I do it twice a week. I've got one coming up this afternoon. I'm really excited about it. Once a week, we just show up for each other. And the the gift of witnessing people in the luteal phase and then witnessing people when they're in their follicular and their ovulation phase is incredible. Last Friday, a few of the members weren't feeling so great. They were in their luteal, and what we do is we turn off the camera and they just listen, and we practice some physical strategies. We ended up laying on the floor for a lot of it. We laid on the floor and put blankets on us, and together we went through our luteal phase, and it was really beautiful because we feel alone in this, right? Do you feel alone? Isolating. So alone that we can't even be in our own bodies. We don't even want to be there. How can anybody else want to be around us? But I do. I want to be there. And there's so many women that want to be there. And we meet twice a week. And if you want to connect outside of our group sessions, we've also got a WhatsApp group, which is so great. We've got members that use it at midnight when they can't sleep, going, oh my gosh, I need a funny TV show to watch. I can't sleep. We've got when women are struggling with a certain tool or with a certain part of their cycle they need a tool for, they're popping it up there, and I can just send through a link to a tool that's in the program. So 7 days for free, because I want you to make sure that it's right for you. It's a proven system. This is completely evidence-based. I'm a registered counsellor. I've been practicing for nearly 10 years, and all of the strategies in here and everything we go through is luteal tested. There is nothing in there that myself and my members haven't used, and it's worked. I've also got expert interviews. I chat with people from all walks of life who also specialize in PMDD. I'm part of many communities around the world, and I work with sexologists, nutritionists, naturopaths, people who have all these incredible skills and a deep awareness of PMDD. So we get lots of different perspective and different tools. I have another, especially if I'm already in your homicidal phase. Yeah, right. Oh, there's a great question. What's the general vibe? I'm sensitive to other people's energies. Yeah, the thing is, we've got so many members. Everyone shows up in a different way. There's two parts I want to talk on that. Everyone shows up, so we've got somebody that is vibrant, and then they're in their ovulation phase, and they're talking about how great their week was. In our group therapy sessions, we check in with everyone. Somebody might be like, I am thriving. And the next person be like, I cannot have a shower. And that's okay. And the next person says something else. And then in that session, we'll go through a tool. So we hear from you, we hear where we're at, we hear what you need, and then I'll also share a strategy that you can use in a great day or a not so great day. As a facilitator, it's really important that I hold the space for you. So it's my job to make sure that it's a safe space. So I understand that you're worried about how it's going to feel being around people that also feel the way you do, but I got you. So does everyone else. How does that sound? I'm really curious about how that lands because that is something that I've heard from so many of my members. The hesitancy. You feel so yuck in your luteal phase. What if I'm around another yuck person? That's not going to work. Oh my gosh, I can tell you, being around somebody else in luteal when you're in luteal is incredible because it's so validating. Because it's not you; it's depressive disorder that somebody else is going through as well. Something you just have to give a go. Absolutely, yeah. And that trust in self too is something I really like to build on. It's like I'm scared of how I'm going to react in this. But if you know what your luteal phase is like deeply and you've got strategies to manage it when it's hard, then you know what you can handle and what you can't. So that's another thing that we go through in the program. Just validating the comment I'm not reading again, being here in a space where PMDD is taken seriously and not just PMS, not PMS. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it is not PMS. Did you notice I didn't even mention it? I haven't even said that because it has nothing to do with it. It's like being, well, it's not a, it's, it's kind of like a cold, but it's kind of like the flu, but worse. No, it's not. It's a major depressive disorder that's in the DSM-5 that causes people to hurt themselves. It causes people to destroy their lives and relationships and not fulfill their lives in the way that they really deserve. This is a thing. And not only do other people not think it's a thing, but I get the feeling that a lot of you guys don't think it's a thing. 3 weeks, 2 weeks of the month. The Rage Rescue audio guide is really great in the program too. I'll give this free. I sell it on the website for $20. But this is a 3-part audio series that I've recorded on how to handle those homicidal feelings. I saw that in the chat, those really difficult moments when you're in the luteal and you're raging and you don't want to yell at somebody and you don't want to end your relationship and you don't want to scream at a friend. I've got a audio guide in there, and that's just part of the program as well. So there's lots of different parts of this that is just designed for you. And if there is something that you need, I will create it. This entire program is responsive. I think it's cool that every time I've mentioned something today about a tool that's in the program, there's been somebody in the chat going, oh, that's something that I need. This isn't a you thing. These aren't symptoms that only you get. Premenstrual dysphoric disorder has a huge list of side effects that aren't sometimes even in the directory. They're just things that we know. Clumsiness isn't in there. But there's not many women with PMDD that I've spoken to that can hold a glass or don't cover themselves in bruises in their luteal week. I had a client yesterday sit on the couch behind me with her leg was entirely covered in bruises. And I was like, are we in luteal? She's like, yeah, how did you know? You're covered in bruises. We get clumsy, 100%. And these are just like a couple of things. These are just a couple of the side effects. I cannot tell you how many there are. Imagine being in a group and connecting with other people that go, oh, you won't believe what I couldn't drive today. And then you're like, wait, that's a part of this? Yeah, it is. I can't send a text message. Hold on, do other people get that? Yeah. And then hearing strategies about how they manage it and hearing ways in which we can support ourselves. It's also cool hearing when we go through strategies in the program, hearing other people who practice them before you get a chance to. That's really nice too. I cannot drive. Somebody says, I cannot drive in my luteal phase. Me either. Yeah. I used to be like, oh, what is going on with everybody today? Well, it's not everybody else on the road. It was me. And knowing that about yourself and and accepting that as a side effect of this disorder makes it's a total game changer. It means that you can say to yourself, oh, I'm not able to drive today. You're going to have to drive. Can you pick me up? Because I can't drive today. Game changer. And it's safer too, right? A lot of this is about being safe. I added up the time it would take for me to, in a session, go through all the tools that are in the program, and I worked out it's $11,000 worth of therapy. Therapy is expensive. There's a lot. I just put as much as I possibly can in there. So there's $11,000 worth of therapy in the toolbox in our program with all of the lessons. Another person saying I can't drive. Oh my gosh, I have to avoid motorways. Yeah. How cool is it that we all get this? I hope you feel seen. I see you. I get it. It's so incredible to be able to lean on people, and that's what the support circle is all about. I have time zone friendly, flexible times that we chat twice a week. WhatsApp for all of the members is open 24 hours a day. If you have any questions, please pop them into the chat if you've got any more questions about the support circle. I'm going to pop the link in here again to the page so you can see it. I always feel deep regret. I'm reading another comment when I'm out of my luteal phase because I drive like a dickhead when during it. Yes. Yeah, right? I wonder what you're like in your follicular phase. Sometimes that with PMDD, we can have a little bit of a mania for a couple of days. And that's when driving a little bit looser can be really common. Do the resources include strategies for neurodivergent people? Absolutely. Honestly, I think of PMDD as neurodivergent anyway. We've got to be neurospicy, not that we can't drive once a month, right? But ADHD, the stats and the alliances between ADHD, absolutely. With ASD as well. I do have a number of members with ASD in our membership, also in my family. So very familiar with neurospiciness and in ways in which we can support PMD with that. When we have PMDD, anything else that is underlying that's going on with us kicks up. So increasing strategies to manage your ADHD, to support your ASD is really important during that time. So I've got those strategies because, yeah, it's so interlinked. It's so interlinked. I just read somebody mentioned about noises in the car that they find really sensitive. Sensitivity to sound is very much a PMDD trait. Also, with ADHD, rejection sensitivity is a PMDD trait, also with ASD and ADHD. So it's this. We can't untangle that. I can't work out, is this part or is this part? I just create supports that work for all of it, that work for you. So yeah, absolutely. I include as much as I possibly can. We're complicated, beautiful creatures. Mine is the blame, another comment. Mine is the blame on my partner. I feel regret. Yeah. I recently apologized and shared my diagnosis. Oh, I'm so proud of you sharing your diagnosis. Huge. I've got a heap of partner resources as well that you can share with them. We also go through a lot of strategies. One of my favorite tools that almost everybody in my membership is doing is a piece of paper where I've written out the different parts of your cycle and your needs from other people. What you need to do is get a fridge magnet and you move it based on your stages of your cycle. And you can edit it as well because our needs change deeply during these different times in our month. So allowing everybody else to get on board so that you don't have to communicate. Because if we can't drive and we can't text, we absolutely are going to find it difficult to communicate our needs to somebody. That's why when we're feeling great, it's a really great time to start utilizing these tools. Question, how does a private insurance rebate work? Amazing question. I have a number of members who actually get 100% back, which is extraordinary. So I don't know what kind of extras cover that you have, but I will give you an invoice based on whoever you're with. So once you join up, let me know who your private insurer is, and I'll pop the details in my invoice, and then you submit it, and then you can get your money back. That's for Australian. Internationally, I'm not able to offer American private health insurance, but Australia, absolutely. hope that helps. If you have any more questions, please let me know. Also, in the meantime, I'm on Instagram, Amanda Westphal Counseling. If something comes up and you have a thought, there's a lot we've gone through. So please send me a message on Instagram. I'm all over that. I will love to hear from you. Pop a message in the DMs, ask me questions. I also have a lot of resources on Instagram as well. And we can connect there. In the chat box, there is a link to join the support circle. I hope to see you there. You deserve more of this, more connection, more understanding, more resources, more validation. I've gone on for longer than I said. I do appreciate your interaction